Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 26 of the Serious Football Head podcast. As always, with me on my right hand side is Tom. Tom, how are you doing?
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the end of the 2019 regular season and the beginning of the 2019-2020 playoffs. Not a lot of surprises, I don't think, as far as how the season ended, although it was pretty exciting there at the end, Jay.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm excited about going into this playoff season, and I'm already, as I have said for the last 45 years or so, wait till next year.
Well, for the end of the season, you went 151, 104, and 1 in your picks. I went 156, 99, and 1.
Oh, five different then.
Yep. We still have
Oh,
the
that wasn't
playoffs
so
to
bad.
go to see who's ultimately the best for the year.
Yep, that wasn't bad considering some of the weeks that I've had. So this past week, and the only reason that I went is I won. I was 9-7. You were
7 and 9.
7-9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that's only because I intentionally picked opposite of you on 4 or 5 picks.
Yep.
So the coin flip games. So,
Yep.
but the good thing is, I don't know if you can see this, but every time at this year, I get to break out the Drew Brees jersey because I love having a player in the playoffs that I can wear his jersey. And for so many years, I've been able to do that. For a long time, I would wear my Rodney Harrison jersey when he was playing with the Patriots. I would wear my Seau jersey. I would wear my Drew Brees jersey. And it's actually my favorite jersey. So I get to wear it in the playoffs when the Chargers on in it. So basically once a year. So
Well, I think they'll do better since they play. Who are they playing this year? They are playing the Vikings.
the
Yeah.
Saints and the Vikings to start out on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
and I
little
think,
weird this year, though, the way they've got the
yeah,
game scheduled.
yeah, AFC on Sunday, Saturday, and NFC on Sunday. They usually split it.
Yeah,
So I don't know why they did that, but oh well.
definitely interesting. Um, you got the Bills on ESPN on Saturday. You got the um, Bills Texans on Saturday on ESPN first. Titans Patriots on CBS. Vikings Saints on Fox, and then Seahawks Eagles on NBC. And the game of the
So
week
that
probably is the Seahawks and Eagles. So
yeah, only because it's a game of attrition. Um, and let's see who's still standing at the end of that. It's a shame the Seahawks 3 weeks ago looked so strong,
yeah,
and they were so poised to just make a real serious run, and then you have your entire backfield decimated in a
lose the
single
starting left
game.
tackle.
Yeah, um, and Philadelphia is no better. I mean, they're equally as hurt, if not more. So it's going to be interesting to see who wants it more in that case, because I think that's really what that game's going to come down to.
Yeah, it is. Um, any particular games that you were surprised about last week?
Um, well, let's see. Well, obviously, Miami beating New England was quite a shocker because Miami or in New England had something on the line.
Yeah, they
I
did.
mean, they needed to win that game to get their bye, and it's Miami coming into New England. You know, I don't know if anyone bet against that, but good for you if you did, because everyone else was wrong. And the fact that Miami stepped up and took care of business, it helped the Chargers too, because they basically switched in the draft pool now. The Dolphins were 6, the Chargers were 7. Dolphins have an extra win. They drop down. We
Yeah,
go up to number 6 with our spectacular loss against the Chiefs. Um, so that puts us in a much better position actually in terms of the upcoming draft. The That game surprised me. The Titans did not surprise me. I can't remember who they played.
they played the
Uh,
Texans.
Texans, right? Okay. That game did not surprise me, particularly since the Texans sat, Deshaun Watson and so many other people.
Yeah, if I had known that they
Um,
were going to actually sit Watson in them, I would have picked the Titans. But you know, say la vie.
yeah. The But other than that, I can't say I was really surprised by anything else.
No.
So
Well, the Jets beat the Bills 13-6. I mean, that's
Well,
in
anytime the Jets
Buffalo.
win, that's surprising. So, but again, Buffalo had nothing to play for.
I know,
They were slotted where they were and locked in. So, um,
and we both picked the Steelers because the Ravens had nothing to lose. The
right,
Ravens still win.
and they still win. I'm a little concerned about that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're now on a 12-game winning streak, and they need to win 3 more times.
Yep.
You know, we talked about this last week too. Losing that game to me would not have been anything in the world other than the fact that they lost it.
Yeah.
And instead of being what are they 14-2?
14-2.
Yeah, they would have been 13-3 along with everybody else in the league, and still in their number one spot and ready to roll into the playoffs without the onus of this win streak behind them. And like I said before, the Patriots were 18-1, and the one loss was against the Giants in the Super Bowl. So it would have been so much better had that loss been week 2,
Yeah.
or week 17. So we'll see how that plays out. I still think they're absolutely, positively the team to beat, when it comes down to it. And we'll see who makes it that far. I would like to see the Patriot Raven rematch
For the
only
championship.
because, I think that's the way it would fall out. But only because I want to see what Belichick does in the second game against the Ravens, because I think he was holding back last time. I don't think he brought out the full playbook at all, and I think he's got a couple of cards up his sleeve, for this particular offense and for what Lamar Jackson is doing, and I would love to be able to see what that is. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they get past the Titans this weekend. So there you go.
Oh, you think the Titans are going to win, huh?
Well, there's this issue about ex-Patriot coaches coaching against the Patriots.
Yeah.
And if you look across, particularly in the last year, Patricia's beat them, O'Brien's beat them, Vrabel's beat them, and pretty substantially. And for whatever reason, these guys know how to approach this team and know what to do to, pin it in the corner and then put their, boot on their throat. And the Titans coming into Foxborough, they're hot right now. They're on a real roll, and they are looking at a Patriot team that just lost to the Dolphins. And of course, that's not good for anybody that's playing the Patriots, because they don't usually lose 2 in a row, but they have done that this year. And it's a team that's not as consistent as it usually is, and it's not as foreboding as it usually is. And I think that with an element of confidence that the Titans definitely hold right now, they can go in and they can accomplish something. So that's what I'm thinking at this point in time.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I just kind of jumped forward a week in the playoffs to the divisional playoffs just to kind of see the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to the splitting NFC AFC games on the weekend. So
Okay.
Saturday's 49ers first against whoever they're going to play, and then the Ravens. So the 1 seeds on Saturday, and then the 2 seeds on Sunday.
Who feeds into the Ravens? Is it the Titans?
It would be the lowest seeded team.
Oh, right.
So, so if both Houston and New England wins, Houston would go to the Ravens.
Right, but if the Titans win, the Titans go to the Ravens.
Yep.
Because they're 6, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And then we have to hope that Minnesota wins and Seattle wins, so that way Minnesota goes to the 49ers. And actually, maybe it'd be better to go to Santa Clara for us. Maybe New Orleans should win this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at New Orleans as that juggernaut team right now. The history of the last 2 years, this point in Drew Brees' career, and he's playing so well. I mean, just watching him play, it's, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago with the Rivers Brees thing, and Brees is he drops back, he looks, he sees everything, and he throws, and he looks great doing it. And if he needs to move right or left, he moves right or left, and it's
Yep.
not an issue. And I watch, particularly the last 4 or 5 weeks, watching Philip. Boy, the second that pocket breaks down and he has to move right or left, the play is over. One way or the other, it's over. Halfway through the Chief game, I was texting with my friend who's down in Southern California, and we always text. She usually goes to the games, but it was in Kansas City. So,
Yeah.
but we do text, through the course of the whole game. And about midway through the quarter or the fourth quarter, I texted and I said, I'm about willing to bet that Philip Rivers' last pass as a Charger is going to be an interception. And sure enough, about a minute and a half left, down by 10. They're moving down the field, and boom, there goes the interception. Season over.
Yep.
And it's I'm kind of, I guess the evidence is in at this point in time. I mean, this is no longer theoretical conversation. It's been 16 years. Philip Rivers has been the quarterback for the Chargers. He has put up personally great numbers. He's 6th all-time in passing. He's 8th all-time in touchdowns. He's 8th all-time in wins. He's got Hall of Fame numbers. And at some point in time, he will go into the Hall of Fame. I'm convinced of that. It won't be first ballot, but he'll go in.
Yeah.
And at that point, the Chargers will have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks without a single Super Bowl appearance. And I don't know that that's a distinction that we really wanted to have. But I think it's definitely time for them to move on. As the saying goes, better to release a player a year early than a year late. And at this point in time, I don't think they have any choice but to move on. And I don't see any place that would be, a landing spot for him anywhere else in the league. It reminds me of when Troy Aikman retired. He was fully convinced that he was going to leave Dallas. I think that had been determined. And then he was going to land in San Diego with the Chargers. And I know all of us were going, why? He's a concussion machine at that point in time. Why do we need an old Troy Aikman to come in here? Why don't we have a young guy that's proven, that has yet to prove that he can't play? And he didn't get picked up by the Chargers. And he talked about it years later. And he said, I thought I had another 2 years in San Diego. And then it turned out, no, they didn't want me. And I think that's what Rivers is going to face. That's what Manning is going to face.
Yeah.
And guys like Mariota and Winston, I don't know what they're going to do with Winston. That's probably, to me, the hardest decision for any team has to make this year is, what do you do with a problem like Jameis Winston? And he said it this week. He said if he can stop the turnovers, he's going to be one of the greatest of all time. Okay, well, good for you. I think, though, that if he could stop the turnovers, it would have happened sometime in the last 5 years. And he's going into year 6, hasn't played any differently, although that's actually not true. His play has improved in terms of the number of yards he puts up. But when you give up over 100 points based on your turnovers alone, you're not going to win a lot of games. And that's the position that he's in. So I don't know. They might franchise him and keep him for another year. And if I'm a Bucs fan, I throw my hands in the air and fall to the ground. They might just let him go and then pick up somebody like a Philip Rivers, and then I throw my hands up and I fall to the ground. There's other, I think it would be hysterical as if they picked up Marcus Mariota. That would just make me laugh. So I have no idea what they're going to end up doing, and I don't envy them that decision at all. Not at all. Mariota's another one. His contract's up. And he's, I think, established himself as a backup. I don't know that there's anybody in the league that would bring him in, maybe bring him in to compete, but not, give him the starting job. Denver's interesting. Denver just announced that Drew Lock is the starter from here on out, which puts Joe Flacco on the bench.
Yeah.
And, and who knows what Flacco's going to do. He's got a neck injury, I think. And he'll probably come back. I mean, I certainly would. He's got a contract that says you come back. and you make your multi-millions for the next season and then call it a career. Um, so that's another interesting situation. And, it's funny that I guess I would have done the same thing with Drew Lock. He's played, in the 4 games that he's played well enough to say, okay, maybe this is the guy.
Yeah.
But now he spends an entire offseason and he's either learning, but from what happened and anticipating what everybody else is going to do. And we'll see where it really stands. But I thought he played well when he did play, so good for him. Just what we need is another, franchise quarterback in the AFC West. So that's going to be interesting. And what else? Ron Rivera
Yeah,
to the
Ron's.
Washington Redskins. That surprised me.
Yeah.
I did not, of this landing spots, I did not see him going there. I kind of saw him going to Cleveland.
I didn't think
Um,
he would go to Cleveland. I don't think he would have been. I don't think he would have been able to get up there before another team jumped on him. Like the Redskins.
Yeah, and as far as front offices go, both the Redskins and the Browns are just as messed up
Oh,
as they can
yeah,
possibly be. The Browns. Oh my God. Let's get to them in a minute, though. Let's finish on the Redskins. And then they went out and got Jack Del Rio to be their defensive coordinator. Good for
yeah,
them.
yep. Saw that
That's
this
great.
morning.
And they got rid of Bruce Allen. And every time I've ever heard Bruce Allen interviewed, he seems like a really nice, reasonable guy, but apparently not. And taking him out of the equation, I think might eliminate a lot of the problems that people are having in Washington. They've got themselves, they're in the same path now that San Francisco was the last couple of years. They've had all these high picks. They've picked good players. Their front 7 is going to be terrific. And they're right prime in line to get Chase Allen out of Ohio State. So they could be, that could be the Nick Bosa addition to the 49ers, could be Chase Allen to the Redskins.
Yeah.
As far as their defensive front 7 goes. And they've already got so many good guys there. Their defensive tackles are terrific, both of them out of Alabama. And adding that element to it will be a really, really good thing for them. Haskins is the question mark. You're going to have to see how that works. They're going to need help at running back because Adrian Peterson is 93 now.
In running back years, he's more like 1,002.
Yeah, and he still picked up 500 yards this year or something. So he's still running, but that's not going to last. And I heard he wants to come back and play another season. So
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you bring him back. The other kid they've got, Geis, who's such a good runner, he can't stay on the field. So as strong a runner as he is, they're going to be looking for somebody in that position. And their everybody's offensive line needs help, it seems. So they're primed, to have a nice turnaround. And Rivera is first of all, a great guy and such a strong presence and such a confident, settling presence. He'll walk into that organization and suddenly everyone's just going to go, oh, okay, what are we supposed to do? Excellent, let's go do that. And boom, that whole organization is going to turn around. So that'll be fun to watch because I've got no fight in that, no dog in that fight. So
Yeah.
that'll just be a fun thing to watch. Now, moving. Oh, sorry. Did you have something?
I was going to say one thing that I found today that I should have noticed 2 days ago. The Dolphins fired their offensive coordinator on the 30th.
Right.
They got Chan Gailey to come in and be their OC to replace him, to replace O'Shea. I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that either. He's been out since 16. He's kind of that Wade Phillips kind of guy, though.
Yeah.
I even if he comes in and just does the stuff he used to do, I think they'll be better on offense. I don't know where they're going now. I think they're 7th or 8th now in the draft. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks. Is the deadline to declare for juniors.
Yep.
We'll know what Tua is doing at that point in time.
I heard rumors that he's planning on it on Twitter, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, and I was watching the Alabama game yesterday, or was it, or the day before? And there was a lot of talk there about him going back to school. And Nick Saban was saying he does not know what he's decided to do yet. Uh, I think I've said before, if I'm Tua, I take the year off. Uh, it, this injury is not. Everyone's saying, "Oh, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine," and like I said, I was sitting next to an orthopedic surgeon when it happened, and the guy said he's never going to be the same. So if I'm him, I'm taking the year off and doing nothing but rehab and conditioning and getting myself in shape for the combine a year from February. Or yeah, a year from February.
Yeah.
Um, there's no reason for him to go back to school. He's not going to improve. He's only going to hurt himself going back to school because he'll have that issue of, possibly re-injuring it. And Nick Bosa did it last year. He played 2 games and then quit. He just walked away from the program. He said, "I'm hurt and I'm not going to play this year. I'm going to wait." And he went number 2 overall. So there's a precedent for it. And if he sits out and he gets himself healthy and gets back to who he used to be, then he can go to the combine and say, "Hey boys, take a look at this." And then his private workout, "Hey, check me out here." And boom, he'll be right back where he was. And, and he still could be looking at the number 1 overall pick. So, but if he goes back to school, risk of injury, risk of diminished play because he's not quite ready yet. I think it could hurt him more than it would help him. And then, of course, you try to gauge the interest if you come out this year, at which point he might be there for the Dolphins at 8.
Yeah.
Not that he'll play next year, but he'd be there. And, that he's a player that's worth that risk. It's that kind of Jaden Smith type of thing. But even Jaden Smith went in the 2nd round. And when you've got that kind of injury and you're, 50-50 if you're going to be able to make it back, and the Cowboys were lucky. It was their team doctor that did the surgery. And he was confident enough in himself to say, "Best surgery I've ever done. He'll be back." And look at the guy. He's in the Pro Bowl, I think. So that's another decision. But we'll know that in the next couple of weeks because I think the deadline's the 19th of January. So 14th, 19th, something like that. He'll have to make that decision if he's going to declare or not. And but if I was him,
take the year
I would
off.
be really, really cautious. Take the year off, get healthy, get 100%, and then come back in the draft. But more than likely, he'll declare and he'll get picked up someplace in the middle of the round, and someone will roll the dice and say, "Yeah, I think he's okay." Because I know, he'll go to the combine. If he declares he's going to the combine, he won't be able to participate, but he'll be there for all the medical. And he'll have, everybody that was anybody following him around, probably brings the doctor that did the surgery and says, talk to this guy. Let's see. He says, "I'm going to be 100%. And, maybe then somebody rolls the dice and takes him in the 1st round. It could be the Chargers at 6. Why not? If they determine that he will bounce back, but he won't be ready for next year, take him. Why not? Yeah, they've made bigger mistakes, so take them. And and then Tyrod Taylor, quarterbacks the team next year, and then Tua comes back into practice at the end of the year, and then we work with him in the off season, and in 2 years, he comes back out to start. I can see that scenario too. I don't know where he's going to end up, but we'll find out in a couple of weeks because ultimately the decision is his, and he declares or he doesn't declare. And if he doesn't declare, that doesn't mean he's going back to school. It just means he's not coming into the NFL yet.
So I'm looking at the draft value chart and looking at the draft order as of right now. Miami has 3 first-round picks this year.
Yeah.
1 from Houston, 1 from Pittsburgh. And they're currently the number 5 spot. With those 2 other picks in their 5th round pick.
The Dolphins?
Yeah.
Are 5?
Yeah, the Dolphins are 5. Chargers
No,
are
that
6.
that can't be
According to
right.
according to
The
ESPN,
Dolphins won. How did they get to 5?
they're 5-11, just like you guys are.
Who won in front of them? Um,
The Giants are there. Let's see. All around you guys is it's Giants are at 4 and
oh,
12.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I was looking at that yesterday myself, because I was counting to see who in front of us is going to take a quarterback, and it looked to me like it would be Cincinnati and the Dolphins would be taking quarterbacks.
Yeah,
The other 4 already have their quarterbacks. Washington, the Jets, whoever else is on
the
that list.
Lions. Lion. Do they have a good backup
Uh,
that could replace
that was
Stafford?
that was one of the big questions: is which direction do the Lions go? Um, Depends a lot on Stafford and what Stafford's. I would look at a quarterback if I were them.
I would too,
Stafford's when you got a back injury like that, gosh, who
especially when you're
knows?
taking a pounding like a quarterback
Yeah,
does. Yeah,
yeah, who knows? Who was it that dropped then? Somebody in the top
could have been
5 last week won and dropped down. It wasn't
Jacksonville.
up. I probably was. Probably was because they won last week, right?
Yeah, they beat the Colts last week.
Yeah. So I just pulled it up too, and this mock on NFL or CBS Sports has Burrow, Chase Young going to I was saying Chase Allen, Chase Young going to the Redskins, a corner to the Lions, offensive line to New York, Jordan Love to the Dolphins, which I think is really interesting choice out of Utah State. And then Tua to the Chargers at 6, which is interesting. And where does the kid I'm not crazy about, and he had a good game yesterday, is the kid out of Oregon,
Oh,
Herbert. And
yeah, I saw your Facebook post about that and about
he
the
just
replay.
every time I see him, he looks like Marcus Mariota or Joey Harrington.
Yeah,
That's all I see when I see him play. And he, like I said, he had a great game yesterday. But this mock, oh, wait a minute. There it is. Mock draft has him going 27th to the Patriots.
wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's
But
see
anyway, we'll see. We'll see. So Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns.
that.
I think the problem has become clear in Cleveland. We know who the problem is, and
Yes.
that would be the owners.
Yep.
Um, Letting John Dorsey walk out the door after he put that roster together. Are you out of your mind? You made a bad choice with Freddie Kitchens, okay? He wasn't ready to be a head coach. Wearing that T-shirt. Second I heard about that T-shirt, I just went, what is he thinking? You can't do that. I mean, that did nothing but incite that whole controversy over Myles Garrett again.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, okay, your daughter made it. That's sweet. All right, but explain to her you'll wear it in the off season. He just couldn't do it. That was such a poor decision, and it was indicative, I think, of the way that he ran the team and the way that he controlled the team, and it was a mistake. Plain and simple. And I'm hoping Mike McCarthy gets that job because they need somebody like him to come in with all his years of experience and his Super Bowls and appearances and everything that he brings to an organization. And he controlled that Green Bay organization for many, many years. And he'll walk in with the talent that's on this roster and turn it around. And they've got another good draft coming up, if I'm not mistaken. And they should do really well if they make the right choice. But if Podesta is still in there making these decisions for the ownership,
Yeah.
they are they're screwed. Forget it. Forget all about it. The guy's trying to run a football team like a baseball team. And I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but that's really what he's doing. And he's taking the people around him that are better than he is and getting him out of the building. And I'm talking about John Dorsey.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Dorsey's a bit of an arrogant, prick, but
Who
that's not
isn't?
a bad thing. Yeah, but that's not a bad thing in that position.
Yeah.
You're dealing with some pretty strong personalities all the way around. And between the players and the owners and everybody else, you've got to be able to stand your ground. And
Yeah.
that's what Dorsey did. They said, they wanted to diminish his power and give him another position. And he looked at him and said, "What are you, crazy?" And walks out the door. I think Dorsey to the Redskins would be a great situation. I
They
don't
could turn
know if,
around that NFC East with them.
oh my gosh, I don't know if Rivera and Dorsey have any kind of relationship at all, if they know each other just in passing. But I know Ron Rivera loves guys that know what they're doing. And he can handle the arrogance, he can handle, the ego and not be affected by it.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dorsey is the belittling kind of guy. I just think he's, wherever he is, he just thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. Um, I like that in this position. And Rivera is the kind of guy that can handle that. And together with Dorsey's ability to spot talent and acquire talent and Rivera's ability to coach, that would be a stellar situation. But now we come back to the front office again. And is Steve, what's his name, willing to bring in guys smarter than him? Because he certainly never has,
Yeah.
you know? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But Cleveland I feel so badly for the Cleveland Brown fan. I just thought they just had, it was just hard luck. But since the Haslams took over,
Yeah.
they've had 9 coaches in 12 years.
Yeah.
How do you build a franchise with that?
You don't. That's
You
the
know?
thing. Is look, I get that you want a coach that's gonna help you win, but if you don't give them a chance to build, you just say, "Here's what you have to work with. Now go win me a Super Bowl." That doesn't work in the NFL. I
No.
don't even know that could work in any sport.
You can't. Well, it does. It works in basketball and it can work in baseball, but it doesn't work in football because it's the ultimate team sport, and no one has ever been able to buy a championship in the NFL. When you start stockpiling star talent,
Yep.
you don't win because you don't have any focus, you don't have any camaraderie, and these guys are all coming in with all these egos, wanting to be the best, wanting to be all pro, wanting to be pro bowlers, and that's all they care about.
Yep.
And they don't come in expecting to be part of a team that builds into a cohesive unit and moves forward. Um, the Raiders tried to do it in the last 2 years, and that has blown up in their face. They're now building through the draft and creating a culture and a team that's
Yep.
moving forward. Fortunately, not very fast. And I think Gruden is the issue there, but that's another discussion. Um, and and the Redskins have tried to do it in the past. The Cowboys have tried to do it. You can't buy a championship in the NFL. Who was it? The Eagles a couple of years ago, talking about their dream team.
Yeah.
10 or 15 years ago now, but talking about their dream team. It doesn't happen. And so
Yeah. I understand entirely. It, you're trying to take Moneyball principles from, baseball with the Oakland A's. The
yeah,
stats that are available to the front office and coaching staffs in baseball are so much more in depth and more quantifiable with baseball than it is in the NFL because you have 9 players that all specialize in basically one thing plus hitting, right?
yep.
In the NFL, you have just in the position of receiver alone, you have at least 3 to 4 different types of receivers. You have your burners, you have your true number ones, you have your possession, you have your, you know,
And all of them are relying on a quarterback to throw them the ball.
exactly. And then you have to
You
have the
know,
quarterback that you have to have
so
the quarterback that can read, and you
I
don't
mean,
have 32 number one quarterbacks.
in the case of the A's, and I'm going to make up these statistics, you lose Jose Canseco, and he had, 65 home runs and 112 runs scored and 30 walks, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you've got those numbers. So now you have to replace those numbers, and you bring in two guys that'll be constant starters. That their combined stats will be like that.
Yeah.
Boom, you've created Moneyball.
Yep.
All right, you can't do it in football. You got an offensive tackle. All right, that allowed 4 sacks last year. Has no bearing on what he's going to do this year because he's going to be facing 8 different guys through the course of the year
Yep.
than he did the year before. And some of those guys are going to be, the best in the world. And maybe he's going to give up 6 sacks.
Yep.
And it's just not a quantifiable comparison. And as long as they hold on to that, I think there are things you can do with analytics. And this is the thing that the guy that bought the Panthers is doing. He went in, totally changed the whole business model for the Panthers. Probably a great idea. Seems like he's a brilliant businessman, and he's doing it for a particular reason. And in business, you can do that. You can say, these are our sales quotas. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to bring this in, this and this and this, and then boom, you can do all of that. You can modify your accounting systems. You can modify your procedures and your internal systems. On the field, you can't. And you can't get a guy in there that's going to say, okay, it's 4th and 1. We're on the 32-yard line. We now have a 60% chance of picking that up if we run this play. Okay, maybe overall you have a 60% chance, but at that particular moment, you have a 30% chance because you've got Joey Bosa on the other side of the line on that end, or Nick Bosa or, whoever.
Exactly.
And there's so much more intuitive decision-making in football than there is in any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
We'll see how it all goes. But again, my condolences to the Cleveland Brown fans because like in Dallas, your biggest problem is at the top, and there's nothing you can do about it.
7, 8, 9. There's 9 coaching candidates that are supposedly going to be having interviews soon, or if they haven't already, for the Browns position, and only 3 for the Panthers. That's quite interesting.
Which is, why did he fire Ron Rivera when he did? If he didn't want to get a head start on this,
exactly. I think he has. He's just done.
I thought he was going after McCarthy because you fire Rivera, now you can turn around and you can start talking to McCarthy right away because he's not working, and you got an open, a vacancy, so you can go ahead and talk to him. But he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done. Does it say who those candidates are in Carolina?
It would be Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs. It is Mike McCarthy. It is Josh McDaniels.
Okay, let's just stop right there. Why is anyone talking to Josh McDaniel? I wouldn't touch that guy for anything. He's like that. He's like Jadeveon Clowney coming out of college, the absolutely slam dunk first overall pick. And I was looking at people going, why would you want to take this guy? Yeah, he's got a great ability and great talent when he wants to play. But after his middle of his junior year, he stopped playing.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to get hurt. So he just kind of stopped playing. He had a brilliant freshman and sophomore year and then just said, okay, I'm ready for the draft, but I'm not eligible yet, so I'm just going to hang back. And that just screamed volumes to me. And look at what has happened to him. He's had flashes of brilliance in Houston, gets traded. And where's he been the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks?
Well, he's been hurt.
Seattle.
I mean, honestly.
Exactly. Because that's who the guy is. When he wants to play. Boy, he had one game for the Seahawks where he was just a force to be reckoned with.
That was the first 49ers game.
Oh, my gosh. He was just amazing. And you look at that and go, if he played like that every week, he would be worth everything that he's gotten. But I saw him play once or twice in Houston when he was kind of intrigued and was like that for some of the game.
And speaking of McDaniels.
San Francisco game, boom. Cleveland?
Nope. McDaniels is conducting his interviews with the other teams on the 10th.
Oh, okay.
So.
But you know what? He goes to Denver as a head coach. his legacy is trading up to draft Tim Tebow in the first round.
Yep.
Big mistake. Rookie coach. Okay, we'll give him that. Fine. He then proceeds to start to destroy the Bronco organization. Last, 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Fired midseason, goes back to his OC position with the Patriots, wins a couple more Super Bowls. Then he's supposed to be the head coach with Indianapolis. And after at the ninth hour, backs out. So they've got an entire coaching staff hired based on him being the head coach. All they're doing is waiting for the Patriots season to end so they can announce it. And boom, he changes his mind and backs out. Now, it turned out great for Indianapolis. They ended up in a great situation, so good for them. But it could have gone the other way around as well. And when he did that, and he interviewed for a bunch of other guys in the interim or refused interviews.
Yeah.
And like last year, I don't think he interviewed at all. I think he refused everything last year because he was staying in New England. The rumor is that they're going to bring him into Cleveland to make him Bill Belichick, and he's going to be the head coach and general manager.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense to me because that's the worst possible decision that Cleveland could make. And boom, I bet you that's what happens. It would be, but I wouldn't touch him. I don't think he's got any of the qualities that are necessary to be a head coach. And he's very good at what he does in the situation that he's in, but he's never succeeded anywhere else. He's never had success outside of New England and outside of Belichick. And now to think that he's the guy that's going to come in and save your franchise is a huge, huge mistake in my mind.
Yeah. I don't see it ending well for him, but what do I know? I'm just a talking head.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not like I haven't been wrong.
But no, and I understand that.
I picked Baltimore to go 6-10. So
yeah. What do you know? But no, I for Cleveland, I really feel bad for them because ever since they left the first time to go become Baltimore, they have not been able to get back on track at all. And to be honest,
there's a TV special about that, about how bitter the Cleveland Brown fans are because they left, became the Baltimore Ravens, and 2 years later won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With the same team.
Yeah.
They fired Belichick. They brought in another Bill, what's his name?
Parcells' disciple.
No, yeah. He's on the NFL Network now. Anyway, but they bring him in and they turn around and win a Super Bowl. And it's 2 years removed from being the Cleveland Browns. And that was Cleveland's team. And that frustration would be just too much to bear. And then
Brian Billick.
Thank you. I knew it was another BB guy. And, then they get a bad ownership again, who ends up selling to worse ownership. And now it's just a total cluster.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about bringing in Josh McDaniel to be Bill Belichick. And he's not. Nobody is. I mean, nobody's ever been Bill Belichick. No one's ever had the success that he has. So there you go.
Ultimately, what you need to have is, and I think even Seattle, when we took, let's see here. Who was? It's been so long, I forgot who was hired first. Pete Carroll, or
didn't Carroll replace? No,
Holmgren. He replaced Jim Mora Jr.
Oh, right. I always liked him. I don't know why his career tanked.
Oh, he tried to do too much. He tried to do too much in the with everything. He was trying to basically become Bill Belichick again.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work out. So let's see here. Come on. Trying to find it here. Don't want that.
Dead air.
I hate dead air. It bugs me. It doesn't have what I'm looking for. Anyways, but basically, I think what happened was we got Schneider, then he hired Pete Carroll, or Pete Carroll helped pick the
I believe Pete Carroll was hired first,
I
and he
I
helped.
can't
And
remember,
he,
but
I'm pretty sure that's what it was because they had a very symbiotic relationship.
exactly.
And he was,
You have to have
yeah,
the GM and the head coach on the same page. If you don't have
yeah,
that, if you say the head coach outranks the GM or the GM outranks the head coach, and they were hired at different times and they never got along to begin with, you're never gonna have a winning team.
yeah.
Pete Carroll and John Schneider meshed from the beginning, and that's what was great. So,
All right, so let's get to our picks here.
all right. So first up, Houston, Buffalo at Houston.
Houston, I've been thinking about this a lot because Houston literally is hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. But then they didn't play Deshaun Watson last week, so now I don't know if he's on the hot, cold or on the cold, cold.
Yeah.
Um, and I like the way Buffalo's been playing.
I have the line at 2.5 favoring the home team. So,
Yeah, so that means they don't know either.
yep.
Um, what did you have the records there? What did Houston do the week in week 16?
Uh,
I
give me
think they lost.
give me just a second here. Come on.
No, I think they won. So they won in 16. They lost in 17.
Give me
Sean Watson didn't play. I'm leaning toward Buffalo. This is what I'm trying to do now. Convince myself to that.
give me just a second here. My computer's been a little slow because of the virtual cam I have set up.
All right. Don't
All
worry
right.
about it.
So
Don't worry about it.
Texans
I'm gonna.
won, and the Bills lost to the Patriots.
Okay. So then we come into week second page, and the Houston loses,
And the Bills lose.
and I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Bills. All right. I'm gonna take the home team in the playoffs. Week 1 of the playoffs, and especially in a game where it's so close. It's
Yeah, and what I'm looking at is the Buffalo's defense is playing really well. The hot and cold element of Houston just terrifies me. I don't think they are up to the pressure of the playoffs. I think they collapse.
it's quite
And
possible.
and so that's where I'm going to put my pick is based in that. And Buffalo seems to have a steadier, more. They seem to want it more. There's more desire in Buffalo. So I'm going to
Mm.
go with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Josh Allen. He was just benched for no reason, basically, right? Because he
No,
went three
they
for
sat
five.
him. They sat him down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't
he
bench.
went 3 for 5 for 5 yards. So
Yeah, no, they sat him down. They said, "Okay, that's it. Get out. Sit down. We have more important games to play."
exactly. So all right. Next up, then we have is the Tennessee Titans at New England.
Dun dun dun. Well, there you go. I think we've already talked about this, and I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to go with the Titans in this game. I think it's time to send the Patriots home, and this is the perfect opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots.
They've already lost 2 at home this season,
Yeah.
which is more than they've lost in the last decade. So, from that standpoint, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans to end the dynasty that is New England.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I think that the
I don't
Patriots
blame you.
I think the
What did I
Patriots
say
are going to
earlier?
win.
I took the Patriots every week this entire season, based on the fact that they're the Patriots. But in this instance, I'm not. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so let's see here. I'm just looking for the Sunday night game really quick. I think I like chances, but all right. So I'm taking the New England just because it's New England at home in prime time. They're usually one of the best. I mean, granted, Baltimore beat them in prime time in New England, so
Yep.
I'm not going to say Tennessee couldn't, but
Yep.
it's not as
I'm
likely.
I'm going out on a limb because there's so much at stake here. If I'm wrong,
Yep. And I think we're both going to pick the next game the same. It's
which
Minnesota
is
Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning for us. Uh, going into New Orleans.
well, with all due respect to Scotty in Minnesota, I have to say New Orleans is my Super Bowl pick at this point. And I mean to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to stay with the New Orleans Saints, the hot hand of Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara is quietly resurrecting his season. The defense, Cam Jordan, are having a great time, and they are ready. This is not a situation that's too big for them, certainly. And they've got 2 years of history of being just crushed by one thing or another in the playoffs and denied of their Super Bowl chance the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees.
Yeah, I've got the Saints as well because they're just playing way too high. I mean, let's just look at the Minnesota's record on the road, 4-4. The Saints' record at home, 6-2.
Yeah. And you know what? Everyone's down on Kirk Cousins in this. He can't play in the spotlight in the big game. I don't buy that. I think the rest of the team can't do it. He has decent games. He's 0-9 on Monday nights, and he's had very, very decent games in in a lot of those. And when they played a couple weeks ago, he had a good game,
Yeah.
but they gave up 38 points or something to Green Bay. So I don't buy into that at all. But I'd also I don't think they have enough firepower to beat the Saints.
Yeah. Yep. And then we're on to the last game. Seattle at Philadelphia for late afternoon on the East Coast, early afternoon on Sunday for the West Coast.
This is the Red Cross Bowl.
Pretty much. I will not be surprised if they're not out there, taking blood donations.
And Seattle's going to Philadelphia.
Well, Seattle has a 7-1 record on the road during the regular season. Philly has a 5-3 home record.
No, I minus, if this had been week 14, this would be a slam dunk for the Seahawks, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
The Marshawn Lynch thing, I said it last week too. Okay, great. So he came and he jumped 2 feet over the line and scored a touchdown. But I think he had 20 yards. Other than that,
yeah, it was not as.
He's not really a factor in this game.
Now,
East and Seattle should win this game. They really should win this game.
It's all going to be dependent upon who shows up on defense for Seattle. If we play as a defense like we did last week and the week before, we're not winning. If we play like we did almost all the rest of the regular season, we're going to win this. So,
and if this had gone the other way, if Seattle had won that game and San Francisco was coming into Philadelphia, this would be no discussion.
Oh yes, this would hands down be.
Because Philadelphia is just hanging. What were they? 9-7.
Yeah, 9-7
against the 11-4, 11-5.
11-5 Seattle Seahawks. Yeah,
Seahawks. They're going west to east. They got a 7-1 record on the road. All right, I'm going to take the Seahawks.
I talked you into it, huh?
Yeah, kind of. I wanted to say no, but Wentz is playing a lot better in Philly. They played well last week.
He's remained healthy most of the season. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, but they're just so decimated with injury, and they're just hanging on. And like I said, if Seattle had a roster was healthy, this would not be a discussion. And so I'm gonna hold true to that and just say that even with their injuries, Seattle is the better team.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks in this, so not much needs to be said from me. But I agree. It's coming down to whoever's injuries do not impact them worse. So.
Yep. So there you go.
And apparently, just some draft notes here. Tua is going to make his choice on the 6th if he's going to stay or go.
Good for him. That'll be interesting. So that's what, next Tuesday?
Yeah. No, next Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
Good. That'll help clarify a lot of things. I'm thinking if I were a betting guy, he's coming out.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I
think
I
he is
would
too, but I
I
hope he
would want
does
him to
the other.
wait. But too, like I was saying, I guess it makes sense that if you're going to wait till you're 100% healthy so you can get best draft position, but you're still going to go in the top 10, now would be the time to come out and get paid while you're waiting, while
Yeah.
you're rehabbing and while you're getting, coming back from it. Um, that is that, that would make sense, but it's a real, I think, gamble to do that because he could go to the second round. Top of the second round, what a value pick that would be.
Well, I
And
mean, for all his drops this year, I mean, DK Metcalf, for personal issues, not injury, went in the second round, and we've gotten pretty good value out of him for that. So,
yeah, and I do think though that if he does hold in there, um, that would be the if he drops, that would be the Patriot pick
oh yeah,
at 27. I'd jump all over that. And you look at the bottom of this draft. Well, you got the Dolphins at 25. Seahawks, they're not going to pick a quarterback. Patriots, desperate for a quarterback. And the rest of the field does not need quarterbacks. So if he dropped past the Patriots, then you got Green Bay, Kansas City, Saints, San Francisco, Baltimore. Then you're looking back at the top of the round again. You would assume that the Cincinnati takes Joe Burrow, so they wouldn't take a quarterback. The Redskins aren't going to take a quarterback. The Lions,
yeah,
he could go, to the Lions in the second round.
yep,
Giants won't. Dolphins will have solved that problem by that time. He could drop to the Chargers in the second round.
yeah. You might
You
like
know,
that.
I would love that. I'd be all over that. I tell you, that's Jalen Smith. That's the Jalen Smith pick right there.
Yep,
Um, but we'll see. Well, he'll tell us on Monday what he's going to do, and then we
yep,
can discuss it from there. So,
yep. I'm
all
looking
right,
forward
my
to the
friend.
draft. I gotta get back into studying some of these college guys now.
I know the draft is coming here. So I'm very excited because that's a big bucket list item for me, and I've never been able to make it back to New York for it, and now I don't have to because it's coming to me. So I'm
So
a happy
lucky.
guy. I know it. I know it. I just got to figure out how to work my internship with Pat and Jim, so that I can hang out and help their team while we're doing this.
Yeah,
So
I would love to be able to go do something like that. Matter of fact, there's actually an internship with the state here for the Department of Natural Resources. They want people who do videography and video editing. So I'm like, I run a couple YouTube channels. Maybe I should apply
there you
for
go.
that.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. So all right. Well,
all
very
right.
good, my friend. Let's have a great weekend of playoff football. The college football has
Uh,
been terrific.
It has
Oh,
been.
you know what? I wanted to say this too. Watching all these college games over the last couple of days, there have been 4 or 5 instances that instant replay needed to step in and fix things. And you know what happened? Instant replay stepped in and they fixed things. It wasn't a discussion, it wasn't a controversy. They just came in and went, wait a minute, we're looking at this again. And they every single time they corrected a mistake and made the right call. And it happened in 30 seconds. Boom, they just came in and did it. And the NFL needs to pay more attention to this. And just the fact that college does it one way does not mean the NFL can't do it the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to talk about
College
the?
has
Do we need to talk
college
about the
has four
Seahawks game?
downs. College has 4 downs. The NFL has 4 downs. Field is the same size. The ball is just, it's okay. Just do it the right way. And they've got the guy, they've got the eye in the sky. They've got the guy upstairs that fixes things.
Yeah.
And they did it every single time. There were a couple controversial plays, certainly. But at the same time, they were all judgment calls. And you go, there's always going to be some kind of controversial play. There was a play in the, which one was it? The Rose Bowl? I think it was the Rose Bowl. Guy, I thought was clear offensive pass interference. They called defensive pass interference. And at the same time, the receiver throws the defender to the ground, turns around, catches the ball at like the 1 foot line, and falls to the ground. They call it a complete catch and defensive pass interference. Then it goes to review. And sure enough, as the guy throws the guy to the ground, he steps out of bounds and pushes off to come back in to make the catch, which he dropped. So so boom, they fixed that in a heartbeat. And the only thing they couldn't fix was the fact that defensive, pass interference was called. And I guess you could have called that as well, but I would have called offsetting penalties on
Yeah.
that. And then the other team they had declined it at first, but then the replay said no, incomplete pass, and so then they had the option again, which of course they took that, and it moved them 15 yards from the line of scrimmage
Yeah.
instead of a spot foul like it is in the NFL.
Yeah.
But there you can have a little bit of controversy on that. We could talk, argue, say no, it wasn't, yes, it was, da da da. That's always going to happen. But
Yep.
otherwise, there was a spot call on fourth down that was horrific, and it was a full 2 feet short of where the guy should have been, is where they placed the ball, and everyone's lining up to play. Their teams are starting to switch offense and defense, and then suddenly the whistle goes, and they review it, and sure enough, they make the right call. They put the ball on the spot that the guy made it to, and it was a first down. And it wasn't any big deal about it. It was just, wait, we got the spot wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let's fix it. And in college, they use instant replay as a tool for the officials to get things correct. In the NFL, they use it as a tool to indict the officials because they were wrong. And that's the whole mentality, I think, that needs to be corrected.
Yeah, that is something that does need to change. But you're gonna have to petition a lot of people to see the instant
Well,
replay as the tool for officials um rather than a way of fixing,
yeah,
in
and
the sense, in a negative context of fixing, you know what I mean?
I think that this year it has been so bad that they're finally open to an overhaul, which is what it really needs. The whole system needs to be overhauled. This idea that we don't referee, we don't re-officiate a play on replay, BS. That's exactly what you're supposed to do is re-officiate. And
Oh,
guys, they can't always be in the right position. They
no.
can't always see everything. And if nobody sees a play, like the Keneal Harry play with the Patriots, when he scored a touchdown, they disallowed it because they say he was out of bounds. So what? You're wrong. You can't, and you don't have a clear view of it. You need to be able to say, hey, Bill, check this out. Is he in bounds? No, he is. Okay, touchdown. Boom. Simple as that. It's a tool to help the officials, not a tool to indict them. Simple as that. So anyway, everybody have a great playoff weekend. We're coming down to the end here. And for those of you that are still involved, congratulations. Have a great time. For the rest of us, let's start looking at those draft boards and start studying up these players. The combine is a short month or so away, and we'll be able to get an
Yep.
idea of where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And we'll find out on Monday whether Tua is staying or going.
Yep.
So there you go.
And just remember, as of right now, Miami could move up to the first pick. They have enough points or enough picks to trade up there. Do they? That'd be foolish, but
Yeah. Why would Cincinnati do that? Who would they go? It would depend on who their second choice on the board is, but I can't see that it's going to be an upgrade from this kid at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely agree. So, all right,
All
everybody,
right.
take care. Have a good one.